In this series, we are listening to the people behind the headlines, the spreadsheets, the layoffs, and the severance packages. Each episode centers one former employee's experience, who they are, what they built, what happened, how it impacted their specific circumstances, and what they believe a fair resolution would look like. This is not about speculation. It is not about exaggeration. It is about giving people the chance to tell their story clearly, factually, and in their own words. Because behind every corporate decision is a human being, a family, a future, and a life interrupted. Hey, Rob, thank you so much for joining us. To begin, if you could go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself outside of your work, your family, where you live, things that you do when you're not here podcasting with us.
Yeah, so I grew up in Washington, D.C. I spent most of my life there. I went to George Washington University in D.C. also. I majored in electrical engineering. I didn't have an IT background. When I'm not outside of that, I like to play golf. I try my best at golf, but that is my latest hobby. Golf and tennis are my two latest hobbies.
And how did you end up at Oracle? What drew you to the company and that work?
Yeah, about 6 years ago, I was working at another company, and I was looking for kind of a change in technology. I was in hardware pre-sales, so I decided to look for, at that time, emerging was cloud technology. So I was looking to join maybe one of the Amazons or the Microsofts, and Oracle came there. They had just kind of kicked off their cloud business, so I decided to take a look at Oracle and join Oracle from there.
Can you walk me through maybe what a typical work day or work week might look like for you?
Officially, my title was product manager. However, I had many roles over the last 6 years, some voluntarily and some involuntarily, due to org changes or something. My job title would change, or my job responsibilities would change. So I was a cloud architect. I was a partner architect. I was in cloud engineering. I was in product marketing for a few months, and then I was in product activation for a few months, and then I was in product enablement for a few months, and then my last year and a half or so, I'd spent it as what they call kind of a growth product manager within the database org.
Was there any position or job that you did there that you particularly liked better or resonated with you more?
Probably when I was working as a cloud engineer, a part of a program that was talking to customers, developing the architectures and walking them through how to improve the architectures. We were creating the videos and interviewing customers. We really had some momentum. We were kind of publishing these architectures, the real world architectures that customers were using, implementing, and we were working with them to help improvement. The customers really enjoyed it, right? So that kind of helped. On the business side, we were tracking that helped increase kind of consumption for those customers, like 30%. So good for sales. And then on the customer side, they were also able to realize it was a free service that we provided. So they were able to gain some knowledge from experts within Oracle that they would have to otherwise not have to get access to, but they were able to do that and help improve their architectures, whether it's modernizing a service or saving costs elsewhere. There was something that they were able to take advantage of.
Sounds like you made some really positive benefits in people's lives there. That's fantastic. So if you could go ahead and walk me through the morning of March 31st, how did this all unfold for you?
It actually started the night before. The night before, or the evening before, there was a 5 p.m. meeting that was scheduled. And then probably around 4 p.m. that meeting all of a sudden got removed from my calendar or got canceled. So yeah, the next day I kind of wake up at my usual time, 6:15, 6:20. Picked up my phone like everybody else does first thing in the morning, and you get the notification there. You open up, and there it was, the cold email at 6 a.m. that everybody else received.
Was there any exact wording in that email that felt particularly jarring or unsettling?
basically your job was eliminated. Your access was going to be removed. Click here to kind of leave where we send your stuff, right? Pretty much enter your email so they can contact you further.
And so did you immediately lose access to like your Oracle system? I mean, you said you had to give them your email. Were you able to log into your computer and such?
So I was able to log in the computer, and then there may have been emails still coming through, but that's about it. Everything else was kind of froze out. And then probably within about 3, 4 hours after, I would say 9 a.m., so around like noon or whatever, I walked away and then came back, and the entire machine, you couldn't even get into it.
What was going through your mind after you got that email? Tell me about that like hour afterwards.
It was kind of more of just processing it myself. Yeah, of course, my wife she was out on a trip with her family. I couldn't make that family, so of course, reached out to her and told her first thing. But after that, it was just internal processing for me from there.
So did you have any warning signs? I mean, other than the night before that meeting being canceled, was there anything that you were, weeks before?
In January, I think that um, someone published some sort of article that there were going to be some job cuts and everything. So it was always in the back of your mind, in my mind. But in between that time, you kind of think that what would happen, right? And then in kind of meetings, you would bring that up to managers, and of course they couldn't tell you anything because of course they quote unquote they didn't know anything. Well, who knows, right? But it was always on my mind. It was just whether if it's going to happen or not.
It sounds like there were a couple of red flags specifically within Oracle.
And if I can add, there's the group of layoffs in September, and the previous team where I work with, entire team got laid off, and so it kind of triggered some more awareness after that building up, right, from September to the news report in January. So there was just kind of this like 4 or 5 months of build up, anyways, to be alert and to be cautious of it. Yeah.
Yeah. In retrospect, now that you're here and you probably look back at certain things and you're like, oh, that explains why this and that and the other thing were happening.
Correct.
So, Rob, without going into specific dollar figures and things like that, if you'd rather not, can you give us a sense of what Oracle offered you related to your tenure?
Yeah, so my being there for 6 years, my compensation or severance package was around 9 weeks, and then and then it also came with 30 days of COBRA. So, I mean, the grand scheme of things, COBRA today, I think I looked it up for myself and me and my wife. It's coming around 1,400 a month. So, and then I'm seeing other people reporting that their severance is taxed at 40 to 45%. So it's almost half of that severance. So 9 weeks is, what it wouldn't even pay for whatever that you need in terms of COBRA and then personal expenses and all that stuff, right? So it's really substandard according to all the other companies that you see out there that's being offered 16 weeks base. I think if they came out with a more substantial package, we wouldn't be here, right? Maybe we wouldn't be taking this podcast because the laid off employees would be happier.
What part of Oracle's offer felt most out of line with what you expected?
There wasn't any particular thing, but it's just, again, like the entire package is, 1 month of COBRA. It is, the substantial cost of healthcare these days is just, so much, right? So you look at that, and then the other alternative is you look at something off the Affordable Healthcare Act or something to do that. But if you look at the ACA, it doesn't really, you have to select a package that would match something that you would equivalent to what you have today in terms of COBRA. And by that time, it could be the same price after that also. So in moving from something that covered a lot in terms of for the healthcare and going into something that may not cover everything. So my wife also has chronic health issues. So she's been seeing a lot of doctors. So this healthcare, it really means a lot to us to get the proper healthcare coverage for her and myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially in a time like now. And it feels like to me, just as an outsider, it's almost like they checked the box. They did the bare minimum that they could offer. And hoping people will just be okay with it. And so there's a petition going out. I'm assuming you're aware of it. The people who have signed that are looking for 16 weeks base pay with plus 2 weeks per year RSU acceleration for vesting within 6 months, 6 months of subsidies, COBRA. Which of those matter most to you in your situation?
I was not affected by that for the RSUs because, I hit my 4-year cliff. And after that 4 years, I was never offered more. So that goes back to the kind of getting a raise or getting compensation for that. I just once that 4 years was over, nothing else happened for that. I had kind of asked managers, what can I do? How can I get more? And you look at the performance, the issue, or if you look at the reason they provided for being laid off is performance, and I don't believe I ever had a poor performance ranking or whatever, or for that. So it was just hard to get any sort of monetary reward or RSUs during my 6 years there. I had performance reviews, but I guess there's another thing where they provide you your monetary changes due to that performance review. So of course, they check boxes and you get yourself reviewed. But after that, I don't know what happens or what the process is.
So if Oracle came back tomorrow and they said, Rob, we want to get you back in here. We want to make this right by you. What would that look like?
Bring those, the things you mentioned up to standard, right? The 16 weeks base and then the 6 months of COBRA. For those who do have RSUs, accelerate their vesting, 6 months ahead or whatever to meet to be able to have them, get their RSUs and the other demands also, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for here.
Are there things that you would tell to people who are still at Oracle, advice you would give them based on your experience?
I saw this the other day, and in the end, you're just a line on a spreadsheet, right? So I meant to get applies to everybody. Maybe think about how hard you're working, right? Don't put in those extra hours, right? Just put in your hours 9 to 5. Turn off those phones and the laptops during the weekends and off hours, and just you're not going to get rewarded for working extra or working harder. Maybe a few will, but not everybody will.
Find that balance, set those boundaries, and really make sure you're prioritizing yourself first and not, killing yourself for a company that doesn't actually care. Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you want people who are thinking about taking a job at Oracle or really any large tech company? What would you say to them?
Tough one. I say the experience and initially the rewards are good. If you're a younger person and having this big tech experience opens up a lot of doors for you. And it just all depends on what you're looking for. It does get to a point where you have to kind of figure out what's best for yourself.
So a year from now, what would make you feel like this was handled fairly?
I think a lot of people are wondering why did they get chosen, right? So for them to provide generic answers such as, job redundancy, some explanation, right? And it could be just because you were you. It's not
because we use algorithms, and that's what.
Right. We use the algorithm, and you were the low man on the totem pole, and you were selected. Okay, great. I'll accept that.
I agree. I think that would be really helpful if they were to do that. All right, Rob, thank you so much for joining us today. And I am so sorry that you are here sitting at this conversation because of what happened. It is truly Oracle's loss. So thank you for joining us in this conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
These stories matter because severance is not just a financial issue. It is a human issue. It impacts healthcare, housing, families, immigration status, medical treatment, pregnancy, retirement plans, and people's ability to land on their feet after giving years of work to a company. If this story moved you, please share this episode, follow the series, and support the petition calling for fair severance. We are asking these big companies to do the right thing, provide meaningful severances, protect people through transitions, and recognize the human impact of these decisions. Because people are not line items, and these stories deserve to be heard.